What's up, y'all? Polo Sports Talk and Entertainment here again with another one. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not a member, and also hit the notifications so that you're able to get all of my videos and all of my content. Now, we have to have this discussion right here. Um, both of these rookies right here, man, have pretty much, have taken the NBA by storm, and they have played tremendous, uh, for their teams. Now, Scottie Barnes, let me talk about him first. Scottie Barnes right now with the Toronto Raptors, um, having a very superb season, averaging 14.7 points per game and 7.7 rebounds and 3.5 assists. Uh, I think that when it comes to Scottie Barnes, man, he's a tremendous athletic player. Uh, the guy, uh, you know, he's a wingman that is is capable of pretty much doing anything. Uh, he's he's tenacious. He's also athletic, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he does on the defensive end either. Uh, because the fact that he's able to do some of the stuff that he's doing, especially at his age, it captivates you. I think the only argument that you might have in this situation right here is being that Toronto is the Toronto Raptors aren't as high as what some people had had expected. Now they're in ninth place. That puts them, in the position of a play-in. They are at 500. The Celtics have leaped up. They're on the come up and everything. And then right above that, you have Charlotte, but they're still at 500. And go figure, who would have thought? Now they took that loss to Chicago last night. You know, they they took the loss, and in that game, Scottie Barnes, he put up 16, 16, 7, and 5. But his impact has fueled this team right here. The Toronto Raptors have already said that, they don't want their core to go. You know, they don't want their core to go. I could see Scottie Barnes being a a um a gifted superstar in this team, for this team, and not only for this team, but also in this league for a very long time. I know it's crazy because still people still they still key on what I said about Gary Trent Jr. And I'm like, man, guys, y'all got to get beyond what I said about Gary Trent Jr. I still feel the way that I feel is that Gary Trent Jr. has a lot of potential. I know me and Ticket we had talked about that a while back. Man, he was like, man, what he couldn't believe. I said what I said, but Gary Trent Jr. the last two games he's put up 32. The last two games he's put up 32 points. But I still believe that the sky is high or the sky's the limit for Gary Trent Jr. But I'm digressing a little bit. Now let's talk about Evan Mobley. Okay, Evan Mobley, man, is is what his name says. He's mobile and can do pretty much everything on the floor. I think that the biggest thing about Evan Mobley is that when you put him together with Jared Allen together, they have the potential to be kind of listen. And I'm not saying exactly like these two, but when you look at like what Duncan and Robinson were doing, they played defense and they also had a very very good offense. Now, you know, Evan Mobley, man, is shooting 50% from the field, and he's averaging 15 points a game and 8 rebounds a game. Now, you might say, well, man, his stats ain't all that and stuff like that, blah 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 and all this other stuff. Listen, he's getting damn near 2 blocks a game. He's getting damn near 2 blocks a game. It's more along of what he's doing, not only offensively, but what he's also doing defensively. And he doesn't sit there and hoist the ball all the time. He's not gonna take, that many shots. I think his highest the amount of shots that he's taken was maybe 15 shots at the most. Other than that, he's gonna stay along the lines of between 10 and 15 shots. So what I'm saying is that basically his efficiency is is better if you look at it from that perspective. For instance, when he played against Utah, he was 15 and 10, 7 of 9. He didn't really need to take that many shots, or when he played, against like Utah. Sorry about that. With New York, he shot 6 of 12, had 15 points, 12 rebounds, and also he's a good passing big man too. I don't think people understand that. So if right now, and he also had a couple of blocks in that game too as well. Right now, if I have my choice, I'm going with Evan Mobley. What the Cavs are doing right now? What's up with it? Switch Life. I see you in the building. It's what the Cavs are doing right now, and how they've turned it around. They've been overlooked for such a long time. I got to go with you know Evan Mobley. Some people might give that exciting factor, in terms of you said seeing Scotty play in prep school. He got the intangible Mobley play for the home team. I'm gonna roll with him. He got A+ defense. Yeah, exactly. And the thing about it is that Evan Mobley, he doesn't need to take that many shots. Look, and I don't want people to get this twisted, because Scottie Barnes, he's not the ball hogging type, or any of that either. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not even the leading scorer on his team. But when he's called upon as a wing, he can fulfill so much. I think the thing that separates him and Mobley, it's the impact factor. Now, the Cavs have a better record, but the Toronto Raptors are solid too. It's just unfortunate that you have many teams in the East that are above 500. Some of those teams are still not in playoff contention. They're in the play-in contention. Like I just mentioned about the Charlottes and Boston. teams like that. And then of course, Toronto Raptors, which in ninth place. Also, you got to realize how efficient Evan Mobley is. That goes back to what I was saying. Guys don't understand, man. Like when you're shooting 50% from the field, man, like that's a blessing to have on your team. That means that guy right there, he could be relied upon, and also he could do other, like Swish Life was saying. Uh, he could do other intangibles on the floor. He doesn't mind mixing it up. He doesn't mind getting dirty. The Cavs can run the floor. They're highly athletic. They're hybrid, and they're doing all this. They're doing all this without Colin Sexton, who, when 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 he went down, let's just face it, everybody kind of they froze up for a second. They were like, oh no, what's going to happen? Man, they've surged, and they've gotten better. You can't take anything away from the other guys too. Of course, I mentioned Jared Allen, and then also, Darius Garland. These guys really have guys that can go. And see, you might look at these guys and you might be like, I'm not paying attention to the Cavs. Man, they're an enjoyable team to watch. They are an enjoyable team to watch. And see, this is the biggest thing. They beat Milwaukee last night. That's another thing. And I'm gonna talk about the Bucks in a little bit. Too Raw for TV, man. Shout out to him, man. He had already talked about the Bucks or whatever. I had already talked about Washington Wizards and everything. But last night, you know, uh, Evan Mobley not gonna, he's gonna be beneficial in other ways. He give you 16 points and 7 rebounds. You see, you look at those stats and you'll be like, ah, man, he's not scoring that much. He's not doing that much. Guess what? Jared Allen also had a double double. Wade, he was in double figures. Garland, he was in double figures with 19. Osman, he was in double figures, and plus he had a dub, and Kevin Love had 25. They just have a real good balance on their team with multiple guys that could get you in double figures and also can rebound and also can defend, and more importantly, man, youth and athleticism helps as well. So I think I'm gonna give the nod to um, Evan Mobley. I'm glad that, and listen, this is another thing too. I'm glad that they're not talking about these guys. I'm glad that they're not talking about them because it helps you to stay under the radar. It's the same thing that happened with the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's the same thing that continues to happen to Giannis. Giannis now, I think they've got him in the MVP conversation, but I really don't know about that. I still have Ja up there and everything because people were expecting the Bucks to be better than what they were, but I give the Bucks just a little bit of a pass because they were riddled with injuries and everything. Giannis is going to continue to do what he does, but they still took that L to Cleveland, and a lot of guys are just overlooking Cleveland as if these guys are Cleveland when LeBron James had first left and they were at the bottom and nobody was paying attention to him. No, this is a team that you got to take serious. Now, this is a point that Ticket had made too. Shout out to Ticket TV too as well. Okay, and Pro Basketball Updates. Now, Ticket had mentioned about uh, uh, Coach Bernie staff. Now, Bickerstaff. I'm sorry. Now, when I was talking earlier about the Washington Wizards, I had mentioned Wes Unseld Jr. I don't know why the hell. I don't know what I was thinking, but JB Bickerstaff, man, this guy is coaching his ass off. Ticket was on point talking about this guy, man. He definitely does have a case for coach of the year. So does Monty Williams. Monty Williams. Some people argue that Monty Williams should have won it last year, but JB Bickerstaff has really taken this group of young, hungry, no egos, feisty individuals, and have made them a force to be reckoned with, not only on the Eastern Conference, but pretty much all over the league. And look, they might mess around and end up meeting somebody in the first round, and the pressure is going to be on that team because most teams that come in, they'll look at this team and they'll be like, nah, at first. And once that game starts going on, and once they realize, okay, these guys have, they don't know what they've ran into. Look, and let's just face it. Okay, yeah, Evan Mobley, does he have experience in the playoffs? No, he doesn't. Does Darius Garland have experience in the playoffs? No. Do Wade and all them other guys, do they have, like, deep playoff experience or championship experience? No. But Kevin Love does. Jared Allen does, even though Jared Allen, in his young career, he only had been there one. But you got to remember when he left Brooklyn, that team right there, with the combination of him, LeVert, Joe Harris, and Spencer Dinwiddie, they were on to something before KD and Harden and Kyrie had showed up. They were on to something. So yeah, some people might look at that, but Kevin Love, you can't take anything away from him because Kevin Love does have championship experience. Matter of fact, as much as we talk about the defensive play that LeBron made, the block to change the momentum, and of course, the biggest shot in finals NBA Finals history to seal the deal in Kyrie. Nobody talks about the defense that was played on Steph Curry. And guess who was playing on him? It was Kevin Love, a guy that said that a guy that people said that couldn't play any defense. All he was a rebounder, yada yada yada, and all this other stuff. He took a tall task of defending Steph Curry. So you have to give him that credit, but nobody even talks about that. And Kevin Love, and also you can't forget about Rondo, with the addition of Rondo. These guys have championship experience, and I think that Rondo being on that roster, it helps those guys out there, especially a guy like Darius Garland. And we really have to look at that. I've been taking the Cavs serious. I haven't been I haven't been ruling them out or anything. These guys, you run into these guys, man, these guys are gonna play hard, they're gonna move the ball, they're gonna they're gonna go hard in transition. I mean, never mind all the numbers and shit like that. And that's one of the things that I like. These guys aren't focused on those numbers. They're not focused on their numbers. Jared Allen could care less about that sort of thing. He's not focused on his numbers, man. He wants to know, okay, is my team doing good? That's what he wants to know. But we gotta see what happens as they get older, as they progress in the league. But overall, man, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with Evan Mobley just for the impact. But that's not taking anything away from Scottie Barnes, because Scottie Barnes definitely has made his presence felt. Both of these guys have tremendous upside. What they're doing as rookies, they're gonna carry the league. They're gonna carry the league one day. When you talk about Evan Mobley, when you talk about Scottie Barnes, when you talk about Anthony Edwards, when you talk about John Morant, LaMelo Ball, we can't forget about LaMelo Ball. All of these young guys. Miles and Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges, man, had a superb game last night against Utah. This is a young this these guys are young and they gifted and they athletic and nobody is paying attention to them. I think it's a crying shame. But you know what though? That's only going to come back and that's going to bite everybody in the ass in the NBA. You know why? Because they're going to see, okay, we should be paying attention to some of these guys or whatever. These guys are rarely getting the recognition, and guess what? They're the enjoyable team to watch. Look, everybody gonna watch the Lakers and the Sixers tonight. We know that. I'm gonna watch it. But honestly, they're only paying attention to guys that got a name and to a team that has a name. They're not paying attention to anything else. But if you really want to see basketball, you want to see execution, you want to see players win, you want to see teams win, you really want to see um, the ball move, you really want to see all out effort and defense. That's not to take anything away from anybody else in the NBA or anything, because I know that everybody, they makes their effort. But I'm gonna watch a Phoenix. You know, I'm gonna watch a Cleveland Cavaliers team. I'm gonna watch Chicago. I'll still watch Washington, even though they're going through their struggles right now. You know, I believe that they'll get it together, but that remains to be seen. So, y'all let me know what you think, man. Leave your comments, like it, share it, subscribe, hit them notifications. Polo Sports Talking Entertainment. I'll get at y'all later.
Hey man, shout out my boy Shooters.